At the end of the topic, you will be able to define force, identify balanced force and unbalanced force, explain the difference between balanced and unbalanced force on a body.
In simplest terms, we can define force as a push or a pull. A ball will remain in place till it is kicked off with a great force. So, we can say that force is an influence which tends to set a stationary body in motion. This kicked-off ball will remain in motion till it is hit by a bat, which changes the direction of motion of the ball. Thus, force also tends to change the speed and direction of a moving body. Now, after catching the ball, if you squeeze the rubber ball, it changes shape. Thus, force can also change the shape of a body. We cannot see force, but we can certainly see its effects. A brick is placed on a wooden table and is attached to a spring balance. Pull gently with force F. The block initially does not move. The force F that you apply is not sufficient enough to overcome the frictional force Fr between the table and the brick. Since F is less than Fr, the object remains static. Thus, friction is a force. On pulling it harder, the brick starts to move. Thus, if the applied force F is slightly greater than the frictional force Fr, then the object starts to move. If more force is applied, the brick starts to accelerate.
Consider a boy trying to move a fully packed box. The box moves with some speed. Now another boy joins him. Guess what happens? Of course, the box will now move with greater speed. Because two forces are acting on the object from the same direction, then the forces will get added and the object moves along the resultant direction. If two equal forces are opposite to each other, then the object will not move, because the forces are cancelling each other. The net force acted on the object due to a number of forces is known as resultant force.
How to recognize the presence of a net force? When there are several forces acting on an object and one of the forces is greater than the others, then the forces are unbalanced and there is a net force acting in one direction. Thus, net force is the vector sum of all the forces acting on a body simultaneously. If the forces are unbalanced or there is a net force on the objects, then it experiences a change in velocity or acceleration. In this topic, you have learned force is one which changes or tends to change the state of rest or of uniform motion of a body. Forces acting on an object which do not change the state of rest or of uniform motion of it are called balanced forces. When two opposite forces of different magnitudes act on an object, the forces are unbalanced and the object starts moving in the direction of the greater force.